Okay, today we're going to be talking about the M27 Explorer with the opening and closing door function. As you can see, I've got one kind of sitting here disassembled. This little guy that's in there. The door piece is off. You can see I'm going to be using this paper clip to hold it in place, and there are little holes. So let's just pick this whole part out because this isn't glued in yet. Yeah. I see. I got to get up over this edge. Here we go. We're going now. So you can see there are holes here and here where that paper clip's going to run through to pivot. Allow a pivot point for the door when it's all assembled. We don't really need that in there now. I'm going to show you how that fit back in there. Step one, if you were going to follow suit and build this whole thing, is go ahead and build the lower walking thing. I've done, 3 different videos telling you how to do that, so you should be able to do that now. And the only thing that I really changed to make it a little bit easier is on these feet. When I put the feet into the slicer, because they're composed of a top part and a bottom part, so there's 2 pieces here of this orange, I just increased it by 1%, and you can do that in any slicer, just go into the resize. And the reason I did that is so that the leg would fit easier into it, so we know for sure that you've got this foot piece all the way up on the leg, so it's bottomed out. They fit so tight before that if you didn't get them all the way bottomed out, the whole thing is not going to walk right. It's kind of a problem. So build your lower part, which means you're going to have 2 wires, which you can see sticking up right there. Those come from the TT gear motor, and I'm gluing up to the top of the battery box. I wanted to keep them out of the way of the moving robots, out of the way of the spinning cams, and out of the way of the whole mechanism that we have to build to make the door open and close. And we're going to do the same thing with the rest of our wires, but we're going to finish talking about these first. So you have your 2 motor wires. These 2 white wires just come from the on-off switch, which is right down here. And right now the only thing the on-off switch is going to turn on is going to be the rear lights, because the TT gear motor is going to be controlled by our cam, motorized cam system for the opening and closing of the door, so that it can have a stop-walk action. So anyway, glued those down to keep them out of the way, kind of routed them around there. The only safe place for all the wires, you can see, is right up along in here, and you'll see why when I show you the cam driver thing. So you've got your 2 wires from your battery box. Maybe I can show it to you better here. There you go. I think you can see them. 2 wires from the battery box coming down. Got those glued down. I got the 2 wires from the TT gear motor. And then, oops, we've got 2 wires from this whole light assembly in the back. And basically I've tacked all of those down there and then routed them around, tacked them down again. Just trying to keep them out of the way of everything as we build this up. Last thing we need to be doing is fighting a bunch of wiring. Now, I can make this thing walk. I can turn that on, and then I can take the black wire, which is the ground wire, to the TT gear motor and touch it to the ground wire here. And then it allows you to test everything up to that point. But what's going to happen is when this is built up with the cam motor thing, let me show you that again. You've probably already seen the short on that. The magic part of this, on this side, this is the cam that's has a spring which is going to both push and pull on that door. And it has this micro switch here. This is your common connection. Then you have a normally closed and a normally open. So I'm switching ground. When it's right now, when that button is touching against that, it's going to be supplying power to this white wire, which is going to end up going to that motor from the wire from the TT gear motor. So it would want to run right now. As long as that little bit of the cam is pushing on that switch, it'll be in walking mode. And I'll go into more depth in this in the next video where I'm talking more about this. But basically, there's a timer circuit, a 555 timer circuit, and I have a little voltage boost circuit to take my 3 volts up to a clean 5 volts for the timer circuit. And it will initiate a pulse through this MOSFET to turn this N20 motor on. So even though this motor can't run right now, even if I put power on there, if I give that motor a pulse bypassing the switch, this will start running. Once this has gone past that lever, then the switch provides the power to keep the N20 motor running all the way around till it hits and pushes on again, and then the N20 motor stops. And of course, when that switch is pushed in, then the walking happens. So that's what's going on in the magical part of the door sequencer cam drive. Other parts of interest, of course, you need to build up your assembly for the front. In my case, I've got the 2 blinking LEDs for those parts, and I have a white LED part sitting there that's going to throw light into the front to help light up the windows so that you can see what's going on there. Now, because I couldn't run the string like I've showed in the other videos for moving the front and rear ones, because the door is going to be opening, there's of course now only that string, which I can see the black thread there, which connects to this plate. And maybe if I turn that on again while we're looking just specifically for that, and make it easier for you to see what I'm talking about. And let's put some power to it. Here we go. So you can see how this cam plate has moved back and forth like that, which pushes and pulls on the string, and that's what makes the robots twist back and forth. But the robot in the back window over here is linked to a metal rod, which if we can get the light of the, there we go. I think maybe you can see back in there. Can't necessarily get the camera to focus back in there. You can see how that metal rod takes movement to the other side. And the same thing is going to be happening up here in the front. There's going to be, this little guy is going to sit in there in the front, and this paperclip linkage will go over and connect, because there's these same type of holes on that robot, and connect to that one. So when that robot moves, this robot will move. But again, this is going to be almost the last thing. Well, next to the last. I guess the last thing obviously is going to be the front. But before you put the front on, then this piece will go in there. Basically sits in there like that. And that's how I'm going to get movement to that side. But before I can do any of that, of course, I need to have this back in there. I think it perhaps will go in a little bit easier. There we go. Slides right in. When it's in place, it can't go too far. It hits a stop. You should have about the same amount of lip visible there and there. And the door opening cam thing that I showed you, well, here it is again. This whole mechanism is going to fit up in there, and that spring will come out through this opening to the door. And once this is glued in place, that'll hold this whole piece in place. So I think that's as far as I want to go in this video. I don't want it to get too long or too confusing. So in the next video, we'll talk more about the cam sequencer and how that works, and who knows, maybe even try gluing it in place, although gluing takes time, so I don't know if I'll do the gluing on the video or not, but we'll see.